I went to the doctor and 3 weeks later, a $400 bill showed up in my mailbox like it owned the place. Nobody told me insurance and actually being covered were two completely different things. I genuinely thought having health insurance meant that when I went to the doctor, the insurance company would pay for it. That was my complete and total understanding of how this worked. I was a grown adult walking around with that level of knowledge about one of the most important financial products I would ever own, and nobody thought to correct me until a $400 bill did it for them. So let me introduce you to the language that your insurance company speaks, because it is absolutely not the language that any human being uses in real life. And understanding even half of these words is the difference between a $40 visit and a $400 surprise waiting in your mailbox. Your premium is the amount you pay every single month just to have insurance, whether you use it or not, whether you're healthy or not, whether you even remember you have it or not. That money is gone the moment the month starts. Your deductible is the amount you have to pay completely out of your own pocket before your insurance company starts helping you with anything at all. So if your deductible is $1,500, the first $1,500 of your medical costs every year is entirely on you. Your insurance card is essentially decorative until you hit that number. Your copay is the flat fee you pay at the door for specific visits, like $30 every time you see your regular doctor. Simple enough, except that copay doesn't count toward your deductible in every plan. Sometimes you're just paying it on top of everything else. Coinsurance is where it gets truly unhinged, because after you finally hit your deductible, your insurance still doesn't pay for everything. Instead, you split the remaining cost, usually something like 80% them and 20% you, until you hit yet another number called your out-of-pocket maximum. And out-of-network is the two words that explain most surprise bills. Because if the doctor you saw or the lab that processed your test or the anesthesiologist in the room during your procedure wasn't in your insurance company's approved list, congratulations, you are now paying a completely different and significantly higher rate, and nobody warned you in advance. And here is the stat that completely broke my brain when I first read it: to 45% of insured, working-age adults received an unexpected medical bill in a single year. Nearly half of all people who had insurance, who were doing the right thing, who were paying their premium every single month, still got a bill they weren't expecting and couldn't explain. And then they send you something called an explanation of benefits, which sounds like it should explain things, and it does not explain a single thing. It is a document designed by someone who has never once had to pay a medical bill in their life, and it arrives in your mailbox about 2 weeks before the actual bill, so you can spend that time confused and anxious before the real damage arrives. And I want to stop here for a second, because I know exactly what it feels like to sit with that bill and wonder how everyone else seems to navigate this without falling apart, how other people just know what to do and what to pay and what to fight and what to accept. You are not behind. You are not stupid. You were handed one of the most complicated financial systems in the entire world with zero instructions, zero training, and zero warning, and you were expected to figure it out on the day you needed it most. 18% of young adults our age had to borrow money just to cover a medical bill. Not because they were irresponsible, because nobody told them how any of this actually worked. So here is everything I wish someone had explained to me before I ever needed to use my insurance card, in plain language, with no jargon attached. First, before you pick any health insurance plan, the only 3 numbers that actually matter for your real-life budget are the monthly premium, the deductible, and the out-of-pocket maximum. Everything else flows from those 3 numbers. If nobody taught you to compare plans using those 3 things, start there and everything else gets simpler. Second, always check if your specific doctor and your specific hospital are in network before your appointment. Not after, not during. Before, because out-of-network charges are the #1 cause of surprise medical bills, and the insurance company is not going to warn you, they are going to bill you. Third, when you get a medical bill that doesn't make sense, which will happen you are allowed to call the billing department and ask them to explain every single line item, and you are allowed to negotiate, and you are allowed to ask about financial assistance programs because hospitals have them and they do not advertise them, and most people never ask. Fourth, save your explanation of benefits every single time one arrives, because if your insurance company denies a claim, you have the right to appeal it, and that document is your evidence, and people win those appeals more often than the insurance company wants you to know. Nobody told me that having insurance and understanding insurance were skills I needed to learn separately, that the card in my wallet was only as useful as my ability to read the fine print attached to it. But now you know, and the next bill that shows up in your mailbox is going to look completely different to you than it did before. If this would have saved you money or saved you stress before your first real medical bill, send it to one person who needs to hear it, because that share might be worth more than the premium they repaying this month. Drop your worst insurance story in the comments. I promise you, you are not alone in this. And if nobody has been breaking this stuff down for you in plain language, that is exactly why our Nobody Told Me exists.